Hello, welcome to Beve with Ben, episode 81. Alright, back again 2 times this week. Catch up needed to be done, and as promised, I am catching up on some podcasts, and a lot of people have been asking about my training for Coast to Cozzy and wanted a little bit of a recap, so I am going to make this episode all about Coast to Cozzy and Ultra Trail Kosciuszko. So, a week apart. Training is very similar, especially with the way the structure of the building. Obviously, slightly different distances, terrain, but yeah, we're all building together at the same time. But beer of choice for this episode is Kiora, which is a New Zealand IPA. I found that at the Prince. It's not a bad drop. It's sort of typical sort of American IPA, very strong. But not a bad drop. Probably won't go back to it. But it was, it's not too bad. But I'm obviously always trying to find something and try something new. But yeah, I've got still a couple in the fridge. But yeah, the one I had on Sunday wasn't bad. All right. Well, before I get stuck into training, I did stuff up. There was I missed 10 years result from the Lonely Mountain Ultra. Obviously, it had happened a few weeks ago, and I missed it. But 10 Bailey, well done. And 4 hours of 59 minutes. You were actually 7th in your age group in the 32K event. So, sorry I missed your result on that. I don't know how I did that, but anyway, it is done. Also, I'd like to welcome a new member to the group, Amanda Randall. So, welcome, enjoy. New to the group. You met Nikita up at the Lonely Mountain Ultra, so you ran, I think, a large section of the course with her. So, welcome to the group. Reach out, introduce yourself, and look forward to seeing you at some stage. Alright, well, obviously, Coast to Cozzy UTK coming up in 4 weeks. Running experience will be another big training session this Sunday at Broken Back Mountain out at the Colburn. We will be doing some hydration testing, so I've sent through the info for that. But look out for the setup for the SNL Pub to Pub Christmas special. So, I have posted and set up an event on Facebook. So if you're not on Facebook, I will share it over other avenues. But the pub to pub, which will be happening the last weekend before Christmas, I had to change the dates because I was double booked with another party. I am very sorry, Linda. I didn't look at that properly. But anyway, look out for pub to pub just before Christmas. What else? And also just wanted to recap on a race that Jackie did in France. I didn't come back to it on the last episode as it was a separate event, so I thought it would be more special on a different podcast. But yeah, the race that she did in Nice, the UTMB. Her and her father Chris did, so well done to both of you. But what was the goal for the race? I assumed this run would be a lot easier than the trail marathon loop that they had done in Lago di Como in 21k. Look, the first 8k was pretty flat with 400 meters of elevation in 10k, but the overall stats were 21k plus 700 meters. So I assumed 2 hours 30 to a 3 hour finish. But like trail marathon Lago di Como, sorry about the pronunciation, the aim was to enjoy the scenery and the finish. What shoes did you wear? The Hoka Speedgoat 5s? Well, went well. I finished when there was times. I finished where there were times I wouldn't. As I approached the finish line and saw another girl struggling, I cheered her up and picked up the pace, finishing the last kilometre at a good pace. What didn't work or went bad? From the start on the flat, my heart rate was in zone 5. Again, I tried to keep an easy, steady pace here, knowing a hill was coming. The hill was hard, very steep, technical. It reminded me of the pyramid in Cairns, with my Garmin showing the HR reading of 200 beats per minute at times. There was a lot of walking. I felt myself getting disappointed in my fitness and feeling like my body was letting me down. How did you overcome this challenge? Just kept going. As I walked, I reminded myself as I started in wave 1 with the elites, there was no shame in walking if I had to. What was the best part of the event? The scenery, as always. Did you celebrate? We went for dinner at the casino in Monte Carlo to celebrate. What a perfect place to celebrate. What's next? The Kiani Mountain Run in March 2025 with some focused recovery. But yeah, that casino is a very nice place. My story for the casino is I walked in, jumped on a machine, and there was someone else. We sort of arrived at the machine at the same time, and I, being a gentleman, I let her have the machine and played another one. Her first hit, she won €15,000. So I was one hit away from winning, just over $30,000. So not happy, but anyway, life goes on. But that's my experience at the Monte Carlo casino. I hope you had a better experience than me. All right. Well, thank you very much for sharing that, Jackie. I'm glad. Look, your photos looked amazing. I'm glad to see you and the family had a fantastic time over there. It is a beautiful place, and I'm very jealous. Can't wait to go back to Italy. But yeah, all right. Well, I will get stuck into training because it has been a few weeks that I had missed with the podcast, and obviously you can track it all on Strava anyway, but just a little bit of information and context. We will go back all the way to the week of the Lonely Mountain Ultra, and Monday night, which was the 30th of September, it was the SNL strength session as standard. Did my own little session beforehand. The last couple of weeks leading in, I think I'd started to increase the weights and was doing about 100 kilos. So I did 100 kilo squats, deadlifts, and hip thrusters, 80 kilos on the lunges, and did some bridges and step ups as well. The session was broken into activation, just loading up the glutes and the hemis and the abductors, and was followed with some supersets. Squats in two different squat exercises, 2 different lunge exercises, and then apply a set to finish. But yeah, that was the Monday night, and in the evening I just went for a 6k run on the foreshore, just 5-minute pace, nice and cruisy, nice and easy, shaking the legs out from the previous week end of training. Tuesday mornings was a Deeks quarter, so Lambton crew with Deeks, which is 8 400s with a 200 float between. Not a really good turnout. Group did very well. A lot racing on the weekend, so was just mindful that they weren't pushing too hard and keeping it nice and steady. But yeah, Deeks quarters, so 8 times 400 and with a 200 meter float in between, which basically sort of represents where your sort of 5k pace is at, and you would give you a good indication of where your park run is at. In the evening was the Maitland group, so SNL Maitland, Deeks quarters again, basically just pacing with the boys, 4 minutes on the ons and 4 minutes 40 for the off. So yeah, that's roughly where you want your sort of variation of pace to be, anywhere between 30-40 seconds. But yeah, my legs were a little bit heavy, shouldn't have lifted too heavy in the weights last night, which I still have been finding that a little bit. Tuesdays I'm still a little bit heavy, obviously a big volume off the weekend, and then obviously we're doing weights on the Monday night. But yeah, not a good session with the guys, 13Ks, but yeah, just 4 minutes on the ons and 4:40 for the offs. Wednesday morning up nice and early, just a 5k along the foreshore, just 4:59 pace, nice and steady. Maybe I picked up the pace a little bit because I ran into Terry, and while Terry was doing his session, so I jogged with him for a little bit, but my legs were a little bit heavy, so I didn't last for too much longer with him while he was doing his Deeks. But yeah, and then into the strength session. Again, I just did some weights beforehand, some lunges, some sissy squats, some pistol squats, some step ups, some Copenhagen's, and some split squats, which I have removed the Copenhagen's out of my strength routine. I was obviously using them to strengthen up my abductors, but I think I was applying a little bit too much pressure on my abductors and was just not tearing my abductors, but just putting a little bit too much load on them, so that have been removed. But yeah, the session was broken again into just more focus on abductors and hemis. Then we again went into a couple of supersets with some hemis, squats, lunges, and we then just finished, obviously having a lot of runners doing Lonely Mountain. We more or less backed off the weight for that session and did a bit of a stretch and release after the session as well. But that was Wednesday morning, and Wednesday evening was Pure Run. Pure Run was the Bawara loop, so a good 11k, just over 5-minute pace. Good group, nice and steady pace. The usual suspects taking off and getting their legs rolling probably around that sort of 4:15 pace, but I just kept it pretty easy and just over 5-minute pace. Nice and steady for a Wednesday. Thursday morning, out in the trails, and one of my favourite loops. It is about a 3.3 to 3k to 3.5k loop around Glenrock. Nice, some sand, some single track, some fire trail, some good descending and some good ascending. So yeah, a good mix. Just 3.5k loops around, just keeping it nice and steady, not pushing it too hard. Obviously, a lot of people racing, but also checking out the venue for where I was getting married the week after. So that was a nice good morning. Into the afternoon, again, nice solid group. Same session, 2 times 3.5k hilly tempos, same location, same place, just different people. But yeah, it was nice having a little bit more sunlight as well, with daylight savings changing that weekend. So yeah, it was good to have a few extra people out there on the evening. But yeah, again, not pushing it too hard, in mindful of that a few people were racing on the weekend. Friday. So Friday morning, I just went out to Glenrock and did a 21k loop. We were driving to Orange that day, so couldn't get too adventurous on where I was running and location-wise, so I just went into Glenrock and did a nice cruisy 21k at 5:19 pace, about an hour 50, keeping it nice and cruisy. I think I was listening to some music while I was going around. It was, I think I started at about 6 a.m, so good to see the sun coming up over Glenrock. But that was my Friday, and into Saturday, which was the Lonely Mountain Day. So Lonely Mountain Ultra 50k, I've already gone through everybody's results. I did take the win for the 50k. What was I? It's just under 2,000 meters of climbing, 4 hours and 57 minutes. Felt pretty good the whole way. Didn't push really hard. Sort of went off at the start, and I was running. There was probably about 5 or 6 of us as we were running down the chute at the start, and then I was about to turn, and one guy turned right into me, and so then I thought he meant to turn right, which we thought it was left, and anyway, he's turned right into me, so I've turned right, then realising that no, it's left. He had to turn left, so it was a bit of a wrong turn right at the start of the race, but anyway, after that, about 100 metres, 200 metres, I was just jogging along, and I felt the pace was a little bit slow, and I just sort of just ran at my normal pace, and before I knew it, I looked back and they were a couple of 100 metres behind, and the whole race didn't see anyone again. So just kept it nice and easy, kept it steady. I wouldn't say I was jogging slowly. I was still keeping it at a nice steady pace. I wanted to still have a good run for the 50k, but just sort of also test out the legs. But I found that it was a really beautiful course. The terrain was nice running through the little forestry area. as I said in the other podcast about the markings, luckily I did have the course on my watch, so I was able to pick up a few sections where I could have almost taken a wrong turn, or had to stop and check to make sure I did take the right turn, because there was either no markers, or the markers had fallen down, or the markers were hidden behind trees. But otherwise, found it pretty good. I ran all the hills. There was the last sort of climb up to the summit, there was some stairs, which I sort of hiked up the stairs, but everywhere else I'd climbed and ran the whole way. But no, it was all pretty good. Pretty solid day. Legs weren't too beaten up, so that was the main thing. I could still maintain a training week the week after and not beat my legs after 50k. So happy to take my first win, and yeah, really, really good race. And then into the Bucks, which yes, that was a big night, as I explained previously. But anyway, I woke up at about 9 o'clock, and creature of habit went out for my run in the morning and got 5k at about 5:45 pace. Was not I think I was still a little bit tipsy. Was struggling to get my balance a little bit at times, but just trying to sweat it out. And I think because I was probably had a little bit of alcohol in the system still, I think that probably made it a little bit easier. But I do not recommend it. But anyway, I just did 2 loops in Orange near the accommodation, and got it out of the way. Then got hydrated as much as I could and ate as much as I could, and yeah, we didn't leave Orange until later that evening. But it was a late night home. We got home basically right at halftime of the football. So I watched the second half of the football and decided to shake the legs out from the drive. I was starting to feel a little bit heavy, so I went for a 6k run at Lambton just after the footy, and I knew I had the Monday off, so yeah, I wasn't too worried about that. So just shake the legs out for 6k at 5:15 pace, 31 minutes, and yeah, that was the wrap of the week. So 143.5 k's, 3,400 meters of climbing. So yeah, quite happy with the week, considering it was a 50k race and a Bucks weekend. Still able to get 150 k's in with some good elevation. Was yeah, happy with that week's training. But the key was next week, not pushing too hard to run myself down. So Monday morning I got up a little bit later, had a bit of a sleep in, but around 10 o'clock I went for a run, listening to the Villa United game. I think I can't even remember the result. The result couldn't have been good, I don't think. It was just over 7k, 5:20 pace, nice and easy, just shaking it out. But just knowing the United's start of the season wasn't good, I've got a feeling it was a draw. But yeah, anyway, it was probably a very frustrating run to listen to the United game. But anyway. But yeah, on the Monday afternoon, so yeah, it was 7k in the morning, and then in the afternoon I just got out 13k, 4:49 pace an hour, legs feeling good. I just went out through the foreshore, Carrington. It was a beautiful day, nice weather. Legs were feeling okay though, which was the main thing, and then straight into the strength session. So yeah, activation, hemi superset, quad superset, some calves, and a plyo set. I did do a few little session before that as well, just to loosen up the legs, but not really anything heavy. Yeah, but pretty happy with how I pulled up for the Monday and Tuesday. So Tuesday was straight back into the session at Lambton, and it was 1k, 400, 1k times 2. So in between there was a 60-second rest, but basically you were trying to get about 10k pace for the 1Ks and 5k pace for the 400s, and just changing gears in between that and getting the legs moving around a little bit faster. So yeah, guys did well. the guys that had raced just took it easy and didn't used it more for like a running, walking session as well. So instead of loading up the body too much, especially trying to recover after a race, just using it as a bit of a run walk session for those that didn't race. Got to push the set, but yeah, good session to kick it off wedding week, as it was the week that I was getting married. Afternoon, Monday, Maitland session, Tuesday, Maitland session. It was the same session, 1K, 400, 1K times 2. And yeah, just moving through the gears. Legs were actually feeling pretty good. I think 1, I'd pulled up all right, and 2, I hadn't done a heavy gym session the night before. But yeah, so for the 1Ks, I was holding 350 pace. For the 400s, 335 pace, and then back for the 1K 350. So 350 for the 1Ks and 335 for the 400. So quite happy with how I pulled up and got through that session. Wednesday morning, up nice and early, listening to a podcast, 5K, 508 pace, 25 minutes, and then into the strength session. So I did do a session before. I did I think I did 80 kilos. So lunges, squats, deadlifts, bridges and thrusters, all at around 80 kilos. And then we got some activation in, so hemis and a glute set. We did 3 different quad exercises, and then 3 different plyo set as well. So that was the Wednesday, and then I did have the day off. Day before the wedding, I did have the day off, had family arrive, so went and checked out. The weather was pretty ordinary actually, so it was quite windy and rainy. Went up to the hang glider hill where the ceremony was going to be, and yeah, the weather wasn't quite as friendly as it was the following day, but just did a 12K around Lambton while my nieces were playing in the park. 4 minutes 50, just under an hour. So yeah, happy with how the legs were feeling, and yeah, it's good to shake the legs out. All right, Thursday morning, the big day of the wedding, trail session. So we did easement loop times 6. So I think it was the easement times 4, but I did an extra 2 reps as well. But good group to have on the Thursday morning. So it's a good course. You basically get some nice fire trail, slightly downhill to shake the legs out, and then you get into a straight down the easement, which is a nice descending climb down into some single track which slightly goes up, and then you got a technical uphill all the way back to Gun Club Road to the gate. So again, finishing on a nice fire trail. So you got a good mix of some steep downhill, some steep uphill, with some free-flowing running as well. And then basically after each lap you switch it around, so then you get the technical downhill into single track, and then the fire trail going up. So you sort of mix it up each lap. One side's a bit technical downhill, and then the next lap it's a technical uphill. So mixing it up, it's a good way to it's about 1.3K in length. So yeah, good session to work on your threshold, and also downhill and uphill running as well. But that was a good session with the group, and then I ran probably an extra 12K afterwards. Got about just over 500 meters of elevation, 20K on 2 hours. So that was my Thursday morning, and then I think I just went and chilled out and had a coffee, getting ready for the wedding. Okay, so that was my Thursday. People would have seen the photos of the wedding on Thursday. Thank you, everyone, for coming and making it so special. It was an awesome night and an awesome day. So Friday morning, woke up a little bit late. We didn't get out of bed till about 10 o'clock, and I went for a run at about 10:50. Just from the hotel, we stayed at Little Nationals in town, new sort of boutique hotel, which was actually very nice. Bed was nice and comfortable as well. But yeah, 6K run, just out along the foreshore out through Carrington, 4 minutes 50 pace, legs feeling pretty good. Obviously having a little bit of sleep did help. Still was pretty tired though, just from not having much sleep in the few days leading up, just having family arrive and being up late, that sort of stuff, and then not being able to sleep after having a big weekend in Orange as well didn't help. But yeah, it was good to get a couple of hours sleep and first morning as a married man. And then on the Friday afternoon after that, I just went for a 6K loop again. We had a late lunch with family and some friends, and then I just while my nieces were playing in the park, I just went for a 6K loop around Lambton, 4:55 pace, 29 minutes. Saturday, so I did have the weekend off, so I was able to get out to parkrun, and we went to Stockton Parkrun. Miserable weather again, so luckily the wedding was on Thursday, not on the Saturday. But yeah, so just Stockton Parkrun, nice and windy, pretty much a headwind the entire run, but just did 7K, 4:11 pace, 29 minutes again, just running in the Neo Vistas. Felt really good, nice and easy, just popping you forward onto your toes, and just nice bounce all the way through, so really good to run in. Offloading the legs as well, but yeah, just kept it at a nice tempo. I think I was just basically sitting around that probably sitting just under or about 4-minute pace. Obviously the 4:11 I was is give or take a couple of K that I did warming up and cooling down, but yeah, I was pretty much just sitting on 4-minute pace, and legs felt pretty good. It was just the headwind that you had to battle with, but yeah. And that was the Saturday morning. Saturday afternoon, I went and did another 12K, just 12.3K, 4:48, just under an hour, just around Lambton, my usual little loop that I do. Legs still feeling good, fine, and on to Sunday. So the Sunday long run. So Sunday long run was Heaton Mount Fork Road plus road. So basically it was around 42K, nearly 1,400 metres elevation, just on 4 hours. And yeah, so started at Heaton, went up Heaton. We saw a koala actually, so that was an exciting thing to see, just at Heaton Gap. But yeah, so just ran up Heaton Gap to the lookout all the way through to Mount Fork Road, down to the base of Mount Fork Road, and coming back up. Just keeping it nice and steady, and just when I got to the junction of Heaton and Mount Fork Road, I ran a couple of K out towards, pretty much almost to the Wattigans HQ, and then just turned to get back just to get a few more Ks in and a little bit more trail in, and then ran all the way back down Heaton. Most of the guys were finishing up, and then I ran an extra. I think I ran an extra 10K or thereabouts on the road. So I just ran 5K out, 5K back along the road from Heaton. A nice little uphill all the way back through. But yeah, 42K was good to get in. And I didn't push myself going up Mount Fork Road. Just kept it nice and steady, focusing on my cadence. And I actually got PRs running up the Mount Fork Road, which was surprising. So just good to see where my fitness is at the moment, good to see where my climbing legs are at, and yeah, it was a good run, felt comfortable, felt good. 42K on the Sunday after recovering from Orange, the Bucks, and a wedding, so still banking out the Ks. And in the afternoon, just 5Ks along the Fernley. We're meeting, it was one of our friends' son's birthday, son's birthday, so they were having they had family over and were having a barbecue. So after Nicole and I had lunch, keeping up to the tradition, and having our Sunday lunch, I went for just a jog around the Fernley, and bought another good beer just at the Coal Harbour to have a beer after the run while I was at the barbecue, and it was Ruffle the Feathers Hazy IPA from Mountain Culture and Green Cheek Beer Co. So nice collab from them, but a nice hazy IPA. And that was the wrap for the week. 156 Ks on 2,700 metres climbing. another 156k week. I'd do like the 156. I think that's just my sweet spot. But yeah, everything that I've been through leading up to that week, still getting the Ks in, and body was feeling pretty good. I did notice that my hip started to tighten up a little bit on the Sunday's long run, and I was getting my perineals was getting a little bit aggravated. But yeah, I know the following week I'll talk about that the next week anyway, but I did have a physio appointment and an osteo appointment just to keep on top of my body. All right, well, on to the next week, and while my computer loads, I'll just scroll back down. So back to a Monday again. So sorry, I hope everyone's playing along and enjoying this, but onto the strength session on the Monday night, some hemi activation. Then we did a tri-set series of some hemis, quads, and glutes. Before that, I did my own session, some squats, lunges, and deadlifts at 90 kilos, and some bridges, thrusters, and some pistol squats as well. So that was the session for the Monday night, which was the 14th of October. And then I just did a treadmill run. Just ran on the treadmill. As I said about my ankle, it was a little bit sore, just a bit tender where the perineals, but I've found during the day it was a little bit sore while I was moving it in certain or getting it in certain positions. So I thought I'd just run on the treadmill, and it was fine. Felt fine, could barely feel it, so that was good. I still did book an appointment to see Phil at Portside Physio. Had a chat with him that night anyway to see if he could fit me in, and he could fit me in the next morning. So that worked out well. But yeah, so treadmill, 6k, 4:58 pace, and listened to a couple of podcasts, and obviously the women's world record at Chicago had gone down at 2:09. Kiplagat or whatever, Kiplowich or something, whatever her name is, but 2:09, insane. But yeah, Tuesday morning out at Lambton, and it was 1k reps. So 4 to 6 1k reps. Did six with the guys, and it was just a bit in a fartlek style, so it's progressive. So 400, 400, 200 with 1k, and it was a 90-second rest between. So you basically starting off at maybe 15k pace for 400, and then 10k pace for 400, and then 5k pace or 3k pace for 200. Some started at 10k, so 10k 400, 5k 400, and then 200 meters was just VO2 3k pace. So that was 1k reps with the guys. Guys did very well. Again, we had rainy weather, but yeah, good session to kick off Tuesday with a fartlek. And Tuesday afternoon, as I said, I did have some treatment that morning after the session with Phil. So thanks for fitting me in. It just adjusted my hip, loosened me up. I just was trying to foam roll and stretch it out, but I just couldn't quite get in deep enough. But yeah, thank you very much for that, Phil, for fitting me in. Tuesday afternoon, Maitland. We did. The guys did 6, so I fitted in an extra one. I did 7 1k reps in the fartlek. So 4-4-2 again, 90-second recovery, and just pacing through, averaging for the reps 4-minute pace, 3:55 pace, and 3:30 pace. So just breaking it down through the fartlek, and was pretty consistent over those 1k reps. Again, just being mindful not to push too hard, and just keeping it at a nice threshold. But yeah, 14k for the afternoon, and yeah, I was quite happy to get through that session and feeling pretty good. Wednesday morning, again, just foreshore run, 5k 5:11, 26 minutes. So yeah, just nice and steady, nice and easy. And yeah, on to the strength session. So glutes, hip activation, did hemi superset, glute superset, quad superset, and into a plyo set. Good group, good session. Wednesday was Maitland, so yeah, 10k with the group. It was Maitland Park, so yeah, just nice and steady. It was 6:30 pace, but I think, that's right, I forgot to pause my watch. I'd stopped and was chatting for about 10-15 minutes and hadn't paused my watch, so when I finished at 7k, my watch was still going. So the last 3k, and that's why it's measured at an hour, so that's why it's the pacing's a little bit out, but basically you're sitting around probably 5-10 pace on average. Thursday morning. So Thursday morning, one of my favourite loops, Powerline Dr. Zeus loop. So 4 loops. So you're getting a nice downhill at the start, down the power line, then turning onto some single track, a nice big steep uphill. So your quads are burning by the time you get to the top, and then you hit the single track, and get the legs pumping through that single track to finish off the loop. So again, another good session to do, practice your speed work running downhill, and then get the legs firing up the uphill into a single track. So we did 4 loops of that, and a little warm down and cool down, warm up and cool down along the road. But yeah, nice little session to do on a Thursday morning and Thursday afternoon, same session. So the loop is roughly 2k. So we basically did the same thing, 4 loops, 2k. Good to push the pace with a few of the boys as well. Good session, and Jess is doing really well. Jess and Adina came out, and Jess has been being the solo female on the Thursday afternoon, so she's been doing really well, pushing herself, and just I feel sorry for her because she's the only girl, but good to see that Adina is now joining back on a Thursday night, so giving her a bit of company out there. But Jess is training really well. She's getting very strong. She's going to have a really good race in Kosciuszko. And she's had another good long weekend run, so she's been training the house down lately. So well done, Jess. Nice session, 2Ks times 4, and into Friday. So I had a bit of a later start on that Friday. I did the Fernley. I needed some sleep still. I was during that week, I think from Tuesday, after Tuesday session, I'd sort of started to come down with a little bit of a flu. So I had got stuck into the Pillar Performance, brought some more zinc, into the Immune C, got some more vitamins into me, and just tried to got into some cold and flu tablets as well to hit it early, and basically kept on top of it and kept clear, luckily. But that was the risk of obviously having alcohol, big night bucks, no sleep, the wedding, etc., and still training. There was a big risk of me letting my system get too far exhausted. So I got onto it and got some extra sleep in, so that was good. So I didn't think I started until around lunchtime. Still got 30k in. I just started off at Cahaiba and ran down to pretty much Belmont. I ran on a couple of k of the new section that they've extended on the Fernley. But knowing the Fernley 15 was on that weekend as well, but it was really humid. I took 2 bottles with me for the 30k, which I thought would have been okay because it was on the Fernley. It wasn't going to be that bad, but basically did 450 pace for just 2 hours and 20 minutes, 30k. But that last sort of 5k or the last 8k, I did struggle a little bit just with the humidity, and I was sweating so much. So, but good to get 30k in. And then had the boys in the afternoon around Merriweather. So 5k with the boys, doing some tempos and some hill sprints. So good session. It was really perfect weather on the Friday too. But that was Friday. Saturday afternoon after work, I just got on the treadmill and just did 10k on the treadmill, just at 446s. The legs felt pretty good, just rolling on the treadmill. I can't remember why I ran on the treadmill, but I think the weather was shocking. We had a big storm hit through and it was pouring, and I thought, and it was really windy, so I thought I'll just run on the treadmill. So I just did 10k, nice and easy. Another Sunday long run and a bit. So ran early, so I got Nicole to drop me off down the road at Barnsley, and as I ran to Archery Road. So I got a nice 7k solo run in, so 7k, pretty much half an hour. Then I ran up Sugarloaf all the way up to the junction, or where the Sugarloaf and where the Sugarloaf Road hits. So I ran 10k with the guys up there, so good to run with a group for a little bit, and then the rest was solo. So I ran down Mount Sugarloaf Road all the way down to the bottom, to West Walls End, and then did the hill rep all the way back up, and then back through Sugarloaf, and got back to my car was now back at Archery Road. So when I got to Archery Road where my car was, I ran again another, I think I got down to the base at about 42k, so I ran another 4k out on the road and 4k back to make it 50k. So I ran 50k on that Sunday, 1300 meters of climbing, 4.5 hours. So yeah, nice solid pace. Was good to get some solo running in. It was good also just to get running with the group a little bit, so it was a bit easier running up the hill on that first climb, just keeping it nice and steady with the group. But yeah, good solid 50k. Feeling pretty comfortable over that distance. Susie had a really good run. She was killing it. So did Jason and Linda had a really good run. Hugh is banking in some great training. And all the girls had a good session as well. Mitch and Ange and Alicia and Nicole was out there. I think I'm trying to think who else was there. I think Deb was out there as well, but I can't think of anyone. I haven't got the photos in front of me, so I can't remember everybody. But yeah, 50k, and then I can't miss one. I did run an extra k with my watch being paused, so I added in that extra k as well. And then in the afternoon, I just went to Lambton Loop, listening to the Inside Running podcast, just 5k, 5-minute pace, 25 minutes in the Super Trainers. So I have got the Brooks Glycerin Max, and I bought them and I wanted to test them out. So I ran 5k. Oh, actually, no, this was not. Sorry, I'm getting mixed up with the weeks. No, I ran in the Neo Vistas. I wanted the extra pop offloading. I was obviously knew my legs were going to be tired, so I wore them just to have that nice little pop, and they did help. So 5-minute pace for 5k, rounding out 160k, 2,500 meters of climbing, and that brings us in to this week. Gone. So catching up. So when this loads, so last week, which is one of my biggest weeks I've had in a while, but when it loads, sorry, I'm going to have to go scroll down, but it would have been a Monday, and something on the lines of the 21st of October. And I think we had Alicia's charity event on that night at Earp's Distillery. So in the morning I got up for 6k and 5:10 pace, 6k around Lambton, and I was still listening to the Inside Running podcast, trying to catch up. But yeah, that was just 6k in the morning, nice and easy. Legs felt pretty good, and didn't have the strength session because we had the charity night, and it was a really good night. So thanks very much, Alicia. Into Lambton SNL. So it was one mile reps. So we did 4 1 mile reps in the morning. So some did 3, some did 4, but it was 4 1 miles around the Lambton Park, and then we finished off with 4 times 300 meter efforts. So the 1 miles were meant to be around sort of 10k pace, and then just to get the legs moving a little bit faster, doing some short sprints ish for 300 meters. So, and for those females out there doing, I've been getting some lessons from those that are going through menopause or pre-menopause. But yeah, so lifting heavy is really good for you, and sprints for 30 seconds is really helpful for you as well for when you're going through pre-menopausal. So there you go, ladies. If you are looking at just ways to help your body and your system, especially with your muscles and your bones and that sort of, and your tendons and all that sort of stuff, 30-second sprints and lifting heavier weights. So that was Tuesday morning, and into the afternoon at Maitland it was I did 6 mile reps. So we had Mark and Mel out training. They were taking it a little bit easy after the busy schedule they've had of racing. Craig was out there. He had a really good session, and I think a few of the others were off sick, so it was just Caleb and myself running. So I was just pacing Caleb, who's he did well. He was we did 6 1 mile reps with the 2 minute recovery, so a little bit longer recovery, and was just sort of aiming to progress each mile through. So started off at 4 minute pace for the first mile, then it was 3:58, 3:56, 3:56, 3:55, and 3:47. So that was a nice little progression, nice and steady. Felt pretty good. Obviously, the last mile gave it a little bit more of a push, but yeah, felt good. Getting 6 miles in, it was 16 k's for the session. Wednesday morning was foreshore, so just 5 k's, 4:57 pace. Legs felt really well, felt really good, especially after a big session. So quite happy with that. And then into the strength session, we had a big group on that Wednesday morning, and good to see Linda getting a little bit too close to Alicia. If anyone wants on Strava and can see the photo, but yeah, it was I did my own little session beforehand. Didn't go too heavy, just 70 kilos to 80 kilos with some squats, lunges, and deadlifts and thrusters, and then did some my hip flexor exercises that had been given from my osteo and physio. But yeah, we did some glute activation, and then we did a superset of squats with sissy squats, supersets from lunges, and then having elevating, just changing the position, and did some calf exercise with some hops and a plyo set with lunges. So that was Wednesday morning session. Pure on Maitland, it was, I think it was the hospital loop. Yes, it was the hospital loop. 11k. Just did the hospital loop, which is about 7k, and then I did a little bit out and back extra myself. 5 minute pace, 11k, feeling pretty good. That was Wednesday. Thursday morning, it was 4 hilly loops, so some nice downhill at Garner's Link Trail, and then you got a technical uphill, and then you do reverse, so you get a very technical downhill, and then the open fire trail on the uphill on the second lap. So it's 4 laps. So just about 5k. I think I did have to leave. Yes, I had to leave early in the morning. I got them started and then left at about 6:45. I probably could have stayed for the whole set because my flight was delayed. So I had a flight at like quarter to 9 in the morning, but my flight was delayed till about 9:20. So I probably could have stayed, but didn't know that at the time. Anyway, but yeah, had a quick trip to Brisbane. But yeah, really good group, good session. Guys did really well, especially on the technical section. And then in the afternoon, I was back in time for the afternoon session, and we did a slight variation. We did Scout Camp loop tempo, so we did 4 reps. So you get a nice slightly downhill on fire trail into some single track, and then you got the Scout Camp road climb after. So it's about 1.6k, 12k for the afternoon, and yeah, was running the session with did a session with Ben, did a session with Henry, did a session with Brooklyn, and did a session with the girls as well. So good to do a couple of different loops at different paces. But yeah, I think Henry pushed me with 1 loop, so thought he was gonna get me, seeing him how hard he ran. But maybe that was why he ran the first loop a little bit too hard, because when we got to the climb on the second lap, he wasn't able to stay with me. So I was trying to push him up the hill, but he's only just sort of come back after having a few weeks off. So good to see him ramping back in, and Ben and Brooklyn as well, just coming back into things. I think Jason was missing, being a little bit crook as well, but Mitch had a solid session. And that was Thursday afternoon. Friday morning, so Friday, I'm trying to think. That was Friday. I had bought the new Brooks Glycerin Max, so I went out for a bit of a test run with those, ran 11k around Lambton, and that was Friday. So Friday morning, just 11k, 4:59 pace, 54 minutes. Really enjoyed the shoes. Nice rocker to them. They're not like they're fairly responsive, and you get a nice rocker to them, but you just nice little pop. Not aggressive like a Neo Vista or a Endorphin Pro, for instance, because it's got no carbon plate, or a new Super Comp, just because it doesn't have a plate. But nice and spongy, really offloading, good rocker. Yeah, very comfortable. So might be something I will put into use later on in a big race, maybe. And then, yeah, it was the honeymoon camp this weekend. So this weekend gone, we had the honeymoon camp. But in the afternoon, after work, I just did a 5K run around around Maitland. So just 4:59 pace, 5 minute pace around Maitland, nice and easy to wrap up the Friday. Saturday, we were out at Conjoy. So Conjoy did 42K. Did the Conjoy loop and 12K on road. So I started out at the public school, ran down into the G&W, where the G&W course goes up the big climb at Conjoy, all the way through down to the bottom where you get to Wadigans Creek Road, and then back up the basin and back down the steep climb. And then I did what did I do? I ran 6K out on the road towards just past where you come out from the G&W turn from Wadigans, and ran back to the public school to get 42K in, nearly 1,500 meters of climbing, just on 4 hours. Yeah, really good session. The boys did very well. Matt, from coming up from Sydney, had a really good session, good run with Gavin. Craig did very well as well. I know his Achilles did get a little bit sore coming back down, so but everyone got in about I think everyone got in about 4 hours. I think the boys got just around 30K in. But yeah, good to get 42K in with some good climbing, and just getting some nice road in on some tired legs. Body felt good, felt very comfortable. Didn't push that hard. Just kept it nice and steady. But my system did shut down afterwards. So because it is about an hour drive back, or 45 minutes, but we stopped at Wakefield and grabbed a Coke, and I had a Coke. After all my long runs, I do always have the tailwind recovery. So I had the tailwind recovery on the way back, and then I stopped and grabbed a Coke. But I think it was just the fact that knowing we're going to be having lunch, we went to Lambton Park Hotel I went and grabbed the burger, but as soon as I grabbed the burger, my system just ordered the burger, my system just shut down. I started sweating, I got really lightheaded, and my vision went a little bit blurry, so got some more water in and grabbed a packet of salt and vinegar chips and had some chips, and that sort of got me back on track. But it was just weird, as soon as I knew that my body was going to get food, my body decided to shut down a little bit. So it's just something to be a little bit wary of. I would normally have something else beforehand, just because by the time we finished the run and got lunch, it was probably 2 hours. I would normally grab obviously the tailwind recovery, but I would normally grab like a protein bar or something like that as well to get in my system, but I just didn't because we were coming back. And I hadn't planned. Had other people in the car, so I didn't plan, and I didn't want to stop. But I should have probably done that. But anyway, I was fine. It was just just more something to be wary of when you do those long runs. But anyway, that was nice, relaxing rest of the day. We went to the Prince afterwards for a beer and caught up with Jason and Brett. But yeah, good to have Matt up from Sydney as well. So just take him to the Prince and have a nice afternoon chilling out as the sun was coming down. And then Sunday morning, so Sunday, honeymoon day 2, was the Mount Sugarloaf to the pub at Dudley. So it was a point-to-point run. We had Hugh and I started at the top of Mount Sugarloaf and ran all the way through to Dudley. Mitch, Matt, Gavin, Jason, Linda, Tan, and Elise, they all ran from Wakefield. So we all started at about 7 o'clock and just starting at different locations. So I think Tan, Elise, and Linda started at the fire station, and the other boys started at Archery Road, and then Nicole started at Warners Bay. So so it was, she had a solo adventure. Got to the pub first as well, but she had fun navigating her way around the G&W course. So, yeah, bit of fun for her to do by herself. But yeah, caught up. I started a little bit behind Hugh, and caught him just coming up that last little climb before you get to the old lookout, the old comms tower. So yeah, ran a couple of K with Hugh until we got to basically just after Archery Road, and yeah, but Hugh had a really good run, got 40K in, and yeah, I got 45K in. Good to see everybody at the finish. We had had to wait till the pub to open, but we had a good feed at the pub and a couple of drinks. But yeah, for again 45K, 5-minute pace average, 3 hours and 40 minutes. Legs felt very good. Obviously not too much elevation on that one, but yeah, good to get on some road and just get the legs turning over. But felt quite comfortable. I got to sort of Charlestown and was sort of not wanting the run to end. Wanted to see if I felt like I could have run longer, but obviously don't want to overload, don't want to be doing too much. But was comfortable to get 45K in. For the last sort of 5K when I came out on the Fernley, I sort of dropped the pace down a little bit and was probably running about 4:15 pace, or 4:30 to 4:15 pace, which still felt comfortable, but just felt like I was moving a little bit better. But yeah, finished the run 45K, and yeah, that was another good long run to put in the bank. Where are we? In the afternoon, just rounding out another solid week, I did another 5K. I again ran in the Brooks Glycerin Max just to offload, but yeah, 5-minute pace, 5K. Yeah, felt very good leading off the week for 171K. With 3,300 metres of climbing. Yeah, another solid week. Training hours is around consistent. It was a little bit 1 hour less this week because I missed a strength session, but again, like, felt pretty good. Where I had the Pyrenees issue a little bit before, that seems to be fine. I felt a little bit on Sunday, just going through some of the technical section on the trail, but otherwise it's fine. Just got to monitor a little bit and make sure that I'm strengthening up my hip flexors and loosening up properly. But yeah, all in all, training has been going really well. Pretty consistent over the last few weeks of training. Yeah, well, that's basically 160K, 170K, 156K, so pretty consistent block. I'll have another good week of training this week and another solid weekend of training. Probably won't do the same sort of distance, probably be a little bit less, but it'll be thereabouts anyway. I might maybe one of the runs might have a bit more intensity in it on just to sort of test the legs out a little bit, but this will be the last sort of bigger week of training and then start to taper down. But that's a wrap for my training and catching up. So you will have another podcast next week. Hopefully I will have a bit of a QS with Benn with Amanda, and no real results from this week. I don't think there's any races this week, but yeah, everyone's in focus for Coast to Cozzy and UTK. So most everyone's plans should be all updated. I have sent you through a bit of a planner for UTK as well. So if you have any questions, just reach out. But otherwise, remember, stroke your limits coaching, stick to the mantra of the 3Ds, desire, determination, discipline, and thanks again for joining me for another episode. See you guys soon.